This is QTV News. I am Mamudu Gajaga. Thanks for joining us. Coming up tonight, President Barroso makes an unannounced visit to the ports. In a move that has been broadly welcomed, State House announces changes to the protocol around presidential departure and arrival at the airport. Edward Tsunade, former vice chairman and defense minister of the AFPRC regime, testified at the TRRC this week and made several revelations. We look at one of those claims. And an amputee shows that he is not limited by what others see as his disability. For more on these and other stories, stay tuned. Welcome and thanks for joining us. This is QTV News. In an unannounced visit to the Gambia Ports Authority on Thursday, President Adama Barrow said his government is looking at means to expand and improve services at the ports. Aliu Cisse has more details.
The purpose of President Barrow's visit was to see and gather first-hand information on how to address the challenges confronting the ports. The seaport employs thousands, both formally and informally. Given the importance of the Banjul seaport, the President said the government is open to partnerships to expand its capacity to compete with other African countries.
The port is one of the most important institutions of this country. It's the most valuable asset of government. Our thinking was we have to maintain the port as a government. But it needs a lot of money. Thinking about $200 million to expand the port the way we want it, so that we can compete with our neighbors. We don't have that kind of money. And because of our debt situation, we cannot increase our debt again. And that is becoming a problem. Now our thinking is we want to shift our thinking, whereby we partner. But there are a lot of ports around the world who want to partner with government. But we are not thinking about partners, we want to do it on our own. But now it's urgent, and I think if it is urgent, you have to take urgent decision to address the urgency.
Following the tour of facilities, President Barroso said he had observed a lot of challenges requiring the attention of the GPM management and the government to devise innovative ideas on how to remedy them.
And also I have advised them also because the Farafenni bridge, now the lights are on, but they offer service up to 12 o'clock because they say they are on generator. I have advised them also to extend the electricity from Farafenni because I think it's more realistic. You understand? You have and you have 24-hour service. You know, why people, they said the service at night is not, it's not very frequent. You know, I say, but well, because people know that you are closing at 7 o'clock, at 12 o'clock. If they know the service is 24 hours, they will use the services. You know, so this is the thinking, and the Secretary General have taken note of that. We will make sure we have 24 hours service at the crossing point.
President Barroso was informed that business activities at the Banjul seaport has grown from the projected 7% in 2016 to 20% in the last quarter of 2019. Usman Jobate, Managing Director of GPA, said they were inspired by the President's visit.
It's a source of motivation. As in management, it's called the tone from the top. If you see the head of state and the President comes to the institution, it shows that there's commitment at the highest level. So we're more than motivated, and it's a sign of commitment that government is very serious about the situation on the port.
The tour also took President Barroso and his delegation to affiliated institutions of the Ports Authority, such as the Banjul Shipyard, the ferries, as well as the container terminal and the dry harbour on Bond Road. Reporting for QTV News, I am Aliu Cisse.
A State House press release announces significant changes to airport protocol around the President's departure and arrival to and from foreign visits. Aliu Cisse again.
In a refreshing move, it has been announced that there are to be changes to the usual send-off and receiving of the President at the airport. A press release from State House has been circulated to the media to say that the parade of ministers saying of the President are a thing of the past. From now on, with immediate effect, only the Ministers of Defense and Interior, the Inspector General of Police, and the Director General of the State Intelligence Service will be required to see the President depart and return from foreign trips. The release goes on to state that, henceforth, a guard of honor will only be mounted during state visits and special occasions. The move has been welcomed across the board and follows an earlier decision by State House to relieve diplomats of the requirement to line up to see the President off and welcome him back. Reporting for QTV News, I am Aliu Cisse.
Edward Tsunade, who was Vice Chairman and Defense Minister in the AFPRC regime, testified at the TRRC this week and gripped the nation's attention, especially with some of his claims.
Jammeh had informed me that Sana Sabali was going to launch on a particular day. And prior to that, he was also trying to tell me that, look, Sana Sabali sees you as one of my allies. And if he comes for me, he's going to come for you.
Are you suggesting that Jammeh was brainwashing you? He was trying to make you believe that both you and him were Sana's enemies, and that if you do not act, Sana would act first, and both of you would be in trouble.
I will break that down into pieces because there's too much in it. First of all, brainwashing, no, he was not brainwashed, but he was trying to convince me that this was the case. Secondly, it was not that he was asking for a preemptive strike. He never mentioned that. He just wanted to convince me that, look, this is on the table, it is going to happen, and he's also going to come for you. So he told me that he was going to come for me first with Sadibu Haidara, and then after me, he was going to go and attack him in Banjul. So I stayed outside with my guards within the compound all night waiting for this imminent attack. And it never came.
A man whose left hand was amputated has surprised many by being able to do many household chores, including washing his own clothes. Amadou Jammeh says his disability will not make him rely on others. I got an insight into this resilient man. Amadou Sane is a teacher by profession. Despite having his left hand amputated, he does most of his household chores unaided. He is able to wash his clothes as demonstrated in this amateur video. Sane said disability does not mean you have to rely on people for everything and that you should be able to carry out certain tasks for yourself.
I managed to do this because I feel I can do it better as other people. I'm not seeing myself as a disabled, as how people call it, but I am seeing myself as, differently able person. You understand? Okay. Initially, what I did when I was about to wash my clothes, what I did was I put some water in the container. That is this pump that you are seeing. Yeah. I put some water inside. Then have my soap with me. Then I dip my cloth inside. From there, I apply the soap on the cloth. Then I use my other hand, my left hand. I press it on the cloth, while this one is doing the action now. Washing. This is what I do.
Amadou also says he wants to be a role model to other physically challenged people.
I want to seize this opportunity also to talk to my colleagues who are out there, who see themselves as disabled. That disability does not mean inability. What able man can do in this field, we can also do it better. You understand? This is a responsibility that I have taken up myself since when I was going to school. Nobody is laundering my clothes. Nobody is ironing my clothes. Nobody is doing anything for me. I am doing everything by myself. So I am encouraging them also to emulate from me. Because I am laundering my own clothes and then as well I am ironing my own clothes.
Parents who have children with a disability are sometimes reluctant to send them to school due to the fear of being stereotyped and discriminated against. For those parents, he has this advised.
The message that I have for them could be that let them send their disabled children to school to go and acquire skill and as well the knowledge. I believe when they leave them just like that at home with them, that may not tell well. But as people living with disabilities, let them not see that they cannot do anything in life. Of course, they can do one thing or the other. Let them, send them to school. Let them go and acquire skills. That will help them tomorrow.
People viewed by wider society as disabled and who have extraordinary talent, ability and determination can succeed in life and also contribute to society and the economy. Perhaps it's time for our society to look beyond a person's perceived physical constraints and look at their ability rather than our preconceptions about their inability. Mamudu Gajaga, QTV News. We will go with a short commercial break and the news continues when we return. We ask, are some road accidents caused by demons? We also hear about the fight against cervical cancer to go nationwide. For more on this and more, stay tuned.
Are you traveling to Senegal from Gambia? Guess what? You can now roam in Senegal like never before. Enjoy the most affordable rates on data and your international and local voice and SMS while in Senegal. QCell and Orange have partnered together to make roaming a breeze. Whenever you roam with your QCell line to Senegal or travel with your Orange number to Gambia, you get to enjoy a new specially discounted tariff on your data and the calls and texts you send locally and internationally. Don't stress about high costs. QCell and Orange have got you covered. Whether it's a quick business trip or a family getaway, you know you're connected anywhere and anytime. Terms and conditions apply. For more information, call 111. QCell, the Gambia's quality network.
A truck accident at Alunhare in URR was alleged to have been caused by a demon. The driver alleged something unusual happened to him minutes before the accident.
The accident is reported to have happened at around 4 a.m. in the morning. The driver and his two apprentices were traveling from the Greater Banjul area heading to Basse. Approaching the spot, the driver said something strange happened that made him lose control of the vehicle.
There was no other vehicle on the road, and I was not sleeping. I was seeing the road and was driving. Suddenly, it seemed someone had covered my eyes with something. The vehicle came to a halt because God helped me. I was not even driving at a high speed. Every year, accidents happen here, 2 or 3 times.
The truck was not loaded at the time, and luckily, there were no fatalities. A resident of Alunhari affirmed the driver's allegation that there is indeed a demon in the area responsible for such incidents.
If
they tell you that bad demons live in this place, you need to believe it because it is real. They are the cause of almost all the accidents that happen here. They have a season when they operate. Some years ago, a bus ran into a man from Kobakunda and killed him. There was also a year that a Guinean man and his family had an accident here. One person died.
The driver has a word of advice for his fellow drivers.
My advice come time of accident. Around 4.
My advice to other drivers is to be very careful, especially around 4 a.m. at night. They say it's the demon's place, so the demon is always here.
Research has shown that the human brain cannot perform many things at the same time. The moment you stop paying attention to what is in front of you, you become blind to everything going on around you. When accidents happen, many theories are given. Some will attribute it to human error, others will put the blame on other factors, including evil forces. Many are with the view that neither Satan nor its demons are responsible for these accidents. Rather, we are the demons. Babkar Sise, QTV News.
Teenage joyriders on Friday caused a serious accident at the BS Junction in Bakau. The incident, which occurred at around 2 p.m., is said to have happened after one of the students engaged in the joyriding lost control of the wheel, hitting two private vehicles and a commercial van. Ansumana Esonyasi reports.
BS Junction is one of the most popular spots within the Kanifing municipality, and this is largely down to the fact that it is surrounded by some of the most popular schools and tertiary institutions in the municipality. However, its popularity has increased for the wrong reasons thanks to teenage joyriders. Despite launching series of complaints to the police, residents here have no other choice but to helplessly watch teenage joyriders engage in what is one of the most dangerous activities a person can undertake in a motor vehicle. This is the second such serious accident to happen at the BS Junction this month. One of the students who was involved in joyriding lost control of the wheel, hitting two private cars and a commercial vehicle and causing several injuries in the process. Kutubo Mub is one of the victims, and he told QTV that this is the second time in 2 months that his car has been hit by joyriders.
The life you save might be your own. This is from this. Because it's not about only me losing my life. They could lose their lives in this kind of things. Because it's a car accident. You're just going to take a car and crash it on somebody. It can happen to me, it can happen to anybody. It could be their uncle, their whatever it is. So they should definitely desist from this kind of act. And then the security officers or whoever is responsible in Gambia should come out to help us to deal with this issue.
He also alleged that they took away more than $50,000 from his car at the crash scene. Mamadou Jallo is one of the victims, and he expressed his distress, calling on authorities to take strong action against these joyriders. The road is not a playing ground. These kids know what they are doing is wrong. There is nothing anyone can do about this unless the authorities help us. They converge here every Friday, and this is all they do. Their parents and those who rent cars to these kids should be arrested. How can you give a kid your car keys, talk less of someone who does not even have a valid driving license? Hali Omar Mendy teaches at a nearby school. He told QTV that they have made several complaints to the police and the Ministry of Basic and Secondary Education, but nothing has been done to stop these joyriders.
This is a great, great, great problem to us, and I believe that the police should follow this with all measures and take stringent measures that these kids do not have license, but they have the cars. When they hold the cars or hold anybody as culprit, they should call their parents. Because if the parents are not involved, this thing cannot stop. They are from schools, but they are from homes. Most of them get the money from their homes to go rent these cars.
Meanwhile, some of the culprits are currently under police custody. A cross-section of locals told QTV that this is exactly the scenario where the anti-crime unit should intervene. Ansumana Esonyasi for QTV News.
A one-day stakeholders forum to expand a 2-year HVP human papillomavirus immunization project nationwide was organized by the Ministry of Health in collaboration with Gavi, the Vaccine Alliance. The HPV vaccine is credited with reducing rates of cervical pre-cancer in women. Ajibintu Drame has more details.
The meeting delved into the importance of vaccination and on the implementation of plans to target grade 3 girls and their out-of-school peers between the ages of 9 to 14 years. In 2014, a 2-year HPV vaccination by the Ministry of Health, with support from Gavi, the Vaccine Alliance, targeted the prevention of cervical cancer and was focused in the West Coast region. Dauda Sow, Program Manager Expanded Program on Immunization, says this time around the vaccination will be rolled out across the entire country. He adds that it is an opportunity for everyone to work together to prevent cervical cancer. He also urges participants to share the information in their respective communities.
The data we had and a lot of morbidity and mortality also are associated with cervical cancer. And this is an opportunity that we can use to prevent this terrible disease. I think together we can do a lot. And looking at the faces that are here today, I think the reason why we are calling this is to ensure, like, once you go back also in your networks, you can share the information.
In the Gambia, cervical cancer is the second most common amongst women, where it accounts for 32% of all cancers in women. Buya Jallo, immunization officer at UNICEF, says vaccination is the most cost-effective way to prevent cervical cancer. She adds that people should play their part in supporting the government in the fight against cervical cancer.
During our discussions, also reflect on what role do we have to play in supporting the government, what role ourselves and our organizations that we are representing to ensure that we have a successful introduction of this vaccine in the Gambia. From UNICEF, we will continue to support the government of the Gambia in the area of vaccine preventable diseases to ensure that every girl child who is eligible to receive this vaccine receives the vaccine and is protected from cervical cancer for life.
Deputy Permanent Secretary at the Ministry of Health, Fanta Baiseka, urged parents to allow girls to be vaccinated. She asked that the vaccination is limited but promised the ministry will work with partners to ensure the necessary equipment is available.
Cancer prevention is easy through vaccination on the girl child. However, treatment of cancer is expensive. And if the vaccine is available in the Gambia and it's safe, we'll ensure that all girl child in this country are vaccinated. And I challenge all of you to ensure that the news is spread out, but also the sensitization is ongoing.
Incidences of cancer are high in most developing countries, and Gambia is no exception. Death rates are high, mainly due to late detection and diagnosis, and the high cost of treatment. Ajipintu Drame, QTV News.
Before we end this bulletin of the news, let's take a quick look at our main news stories. President Barroso makes an unannounced visit to the ports. In a move that has been welcomed, State House announces changes to the protocols around the president's departure and arrival. Edward Tsunade, former vice chairman and defense minister of the AFPRC regime, testified at the TRRC this week and made several revelations. We look at one of those claims. An amputee shows that he is not limited by what others see as his disability. That's all we have for you in this edition of the news. Join us tomorrow for more news. Have a pleasant night.